drawing ever since I could pick up a pencil. A few years back, I decided to give painting a try. And not just any painting, I want to paint a masterpiece. So I decided to make these videos to document my journey from a beginning painter all the way to that masterpiece. Now just how far I'll go, we'll just have to wait and see. So thanks for watching, and don't forget to hit that thumbs up button. Hello, welcome to my first live stream, Art with Ron, episode 1. Tonight I'm going to be drawing a German Shepherd in charcoal. Before I get started, let me tell you a little bit about myself. I've been drawing a long time, ever since I can remember. I've always liked art. I was always pretty decent at it. After school, I joined the Army for the GI Bill. And after the Army, I served 2 years. I went into the Art Institute of Fort Lauderdale. I wanted to be a graphic artist. Make the next cool logo, maybe or Pepsi can or Nike or something like that. About 9 months into college or art school, I was in a painting class and I realized I was having trouble painting some colors, some flowers or something like that. My art instructor noticed and she came over and she called me over to the window and we was up on the 3rd floor and she was trying to show me the flowers and the bushes down there. She's like, "Do you see the flowers and the bushes down there? You see how vibrant they are?" I'm looking out the window. I'm like, "What flowers are you talking about? I don't see any flowers." And she's like, "No, you're colorblind." So it kind of like the wind out of my sails. I was a little devastated. I had a decision to make. Go ahead and finish school where I'd probably never find a job. I mean, who's going to hire a colorblind artist? So I decided to go ahead and drop out of school. I went back in the Army. I continued drawing, pencil, pen, ballpoint pen, art pens. 1996, I got out of the Army. I met my wife, Amy. We got married. We had children. We was doing the family thing. I continued drawing the whole time. In that time, I kind of hung out on, it's called Deviant Art. It's sort of like a Facebook for artists and photographers. I was in a couple clubs, a drawing club, a black and white club, and it's just artists. We'd share our art. We'd talk about it. And I was getting pretty good with an art pen, but I kind of plateaued after a while. I got to a point where I was getting better and better and better, and I got to a point where it was like I wasn't getting any better, and I kept drawing. It was becoming mundane and boring for me. And at that time, we were in the middle of raising kids, doing the high school soccer games and softball and all the activities you do in school. So I just kind of set aside all my art for about 10 years. I didn't even touch it. Besides, I was too busy trying to raise kids. Fast forward to I believe it was 2020, during the COVID lockdown. Just before then, my wife and I, we canceled our satellite. So we had no TV. COVID lockdown, we couldn't go out to eat, couldn't go to a movie. But I did have a Fire Stick, and we was thumbing through the channels that we could watch, and I came across Bob Ross. And I remember watching him when I was a kid. So every night before I go to sleep, I'd watch some Bob Ross, The Joy of Painting, I believe it was called. And after a couple of weeks, I was just like, I was just inspired to say, you know what, let me give this a try. Boy, these lights are really bright on me. I said, let me give this a try. So I went ahead and just bought me some paint, some canvases, and my first couple paintings, they weren't that great. They were pretty bad, but I wasn't ashamed of them. You got to learn to crawl before you can walk. You got to learn to walk before you can run. But after about 10, 12 paintings maybe, I did see improvement. And I'm thinking, you know what? I said, if I keep improving like this, maybe one day I'll paint a masterpiece. And it put the little light bulb up and said, you know what? Maybe I can make some videos, put them on Rumble, kind of document my journey from like a beginning artist all the way to that masterpiece. Not that I'm anywhere close to that yet, but I am improving and getting better. So I did that for a couple years, and I was asked to come on a show, a live stream. It was Lady Hamilton Art. So I came on a live stream. I've been on a show 4 or 5 times talking about art. The last time we was on there, we was doing some live streaming, and I was painting, and I enjoyed it. It was fine. So I decided, well, why not just make my own live streams? So here we are. And again, this is my first episode, Art with Ron. And tonight I'm going to be drawing this German Shepherd in charcoal. Now, I did have a big, long monologue, and I was going to tell you about why I picked this and why I picked this medium. But I really got to get into this drawing. I got to get started on this. I'm giving myself 2 hours, give or take a few minutes. Hopefully I can get as much done in 2 hours. Okay, so let's go ahead and get started. Hopefully I can do some multitasking. I can draw and talk at the same time. So here we go. Let's put this over here. Let's pull this chat up. And there's Lady Hamilton. We already got a celebrity in the chat. Hello, Lady Hamilton. Thanks for stopping by. All right. First thing we're going to do. First thing you do when you start a drawing, you get a good reference. Unless you're the 0.1% that don't need a reference and you can just draw a dog on your own. For the other 99.9, you need a good reference. I also get the same, I try to get the same aspect, same ratio of my reference as to my canvas. Let's say, for example, if it's a 2-inch by 3-inch reference, I want my canvas to be 2-inch by 3-inch. Of course, that's small, so we go 20-inch by 30-inch, or we can go 10 by 15, as long as it's the same ratio. And I do this because I use the corners of my canvas, compared it to the corner of my reference, and I can use that while I'm sketching this out. So let's go ahead and get started on this. And the angles are very important too. Now this camera might be coming in and out of focus until I get something on this canvas. And I know I need to really get busy. All right, now I decided to use charcoal because I figured I could cover up the canvas more with charcoal. Faster. The only problem with charcoal is I don't have a lot of experience with it. So I'm kind of sticking my neck out there by doing this with charcoal. Okay, we're not really worried about detail right now. We're just trying to find more reference points we can use so we can start laying down some different values. Now I was, when I was buying this charcoal, it became a little overwhelming because I'm like, man, I don't even know what this stuff is. So I decided I better do a little practice. And I did a little practice. I went out and got a board. You can see here, let's put it up here. I did a little board, and I figured the one thing I knew I had to do, I had to be able to do a value scale. I had to go from white to black. And if I wasn't able to do this, there was no sense in me even attempting this. And I did realize that once I was doing this, these lighter scales are really hard to get with charcoal. I went ahead and did a practice eye, I did a little practice fur, and I did a little dog nose here. And I was seeing how easy it was I could cover up the canvas with this charcoal. But now, my reference is not in very good light. If I can get out of here. You want to start out light. example, this chin of this dog here, I got to kind of light marks. Once I get better, once I stand back and look where I want my drawing at, then I can come in here and start darkening it up. I see my camera's out of focus. And I've never been a very fast drawer or a fast painter. We got a line here. We got an eye here. These eyes are about level. You know, and if it ain't exactly spot on when you're sketching this out, it's not the end of the world. We have erasers. Okay. I like to step back from my drawing every now and then. If you think about it, when somebody, if you do a piece of artwork, you got it hanging on the wall, they're not going to come in here like this and look at your drawing. They're going to be looking at it from about 10 feet away. So you want it to look good from a distance. That's why I'm constantly stepping back, taking a look, seeing how it's coming. You want to be able to see the whole canvas. Hey, hello there, Blueberry. Mississippi Don. Hold on, I gotta get my other laptop up down here. It's got my reference on there. It went dead on me. Here we go. There we go. Okay. Now I want it to make a nice light background on this, but after I did some practice with it, I realized it's hard to get them lighter values. So I'm probably just gonna make it jet black, the background. One good thing about erasers. Okay, it's starting to look like a dog. And you know, one thing about drawing a dog, if it ain't exactly right, I don't think the dog's going to be mad at you. Okay. The problem with this reference is this nose doesn't have a lot of detail. So I'm going to have to all right. Looks pretty good. All right. Okay. Very important we get this nose right. Okay, let's see if we can get some of this. I'm just coming in here and getting some of the darker areas that I see. Which is right in here. They got them in. Hopefully, once I start getting some lines down here, this camera will stay in focus. I need a bigger monitor for my references here. Okay, thing about charcoal, and this is new to me, you got these blending stumps here, which is definitely, you don't need these with art pen or pencil. In fact, I remember when I was in art school, I was told, do not blend. But with these charcoal, you have to. You can't get these midtones without blending. Stick with me here. You got to go through this ugly phase, painting, drawing, everything. You go through this ugly phase to get to the end. Okay, let's get the lighter. This is like the brown, the light brown. One thing about dog hair, you don't want to sit here and draw lines like this where they're nice and even. You want them to be all kind of scruffy because a dog does not comb his hair. I know it's looking rough, but you got to stick with me. Before I get into too much detail, I want to make sure I got all my proportions and all that right. Down here to the blendy stump. I put some more charcoal on this. Down here. I got a question. What's your favorite medium to work with? My favorite medium to work with, right? Well, it used to be art pens. Right now, it is oil painting. Who knows? Maybe one day it will be charcoal. I know it's looking a little rough, but give me a minute. Okay. Thank you, KC. KC says I'm looking good. Thank you, Lady Hamilton. We got a celebrity in chat tonight. Got a question from Shelly Watts. How do you fix an area you colored too dark? Call it an eraser. But if you're really good, you don't need these. You can't do that with the oil paint. If it's oil paint, you just paint over it. New blending stuff here. Some people probably think I'm crazy for using charcoal, but I've done crazier things. Another thing I've learned, if you want to darken up an area a little bit, you can come in here with your darker areas, and just using this blending stump, you can come in here. And I'm trying to make my marks the same as the fur. My fur's going this way. I don't want to go perpendicular to that. We're not too worried about detail. We're still mapping it out. I do know that this ear is pretty much all dark. So let's get some value in here. We're gonna need more than that. A little bit of highlight on the left side of it. Okay, I want to leave some of this white in here for some highlights I'm going to be adding later. Okay. Here's a little pointier. Take some of that off of there. Okay. We got almost a line right up the middle of his. Okay. Let's move this line a little bit here. Okay. Let's try to get our eyes put down. Make sure we get them in the right spot. Yeah, I probably needed a better reference. If you make a mistake, you can always erase. I got the bridge of the nose coming right up here. I got to move this eye here. What it is. Bridge of the nose. Eye here. Eye. These angles you have on these eyes is important to. I'm looking, I know it starts up higher, it goes down, it makes a little loop-de-loop there. Okay. It's okay to erase, it's okay to adjust. Hey, TriStar, thank you for stopping by. Okay. How are we looking? Okay, it looks like a dog. Looks like a dog with a tutu on, doesn't it? But that's fine. We will get there. These pencils have different hardness. I got to keep finding the one I need. They got different size blending stumps. The smaller they are, more detail work. Now, I could have used a grid system to grid this out. That way I know it's exactly where I need it. But my rule of thumb for a grid system is I only use that if I'm drawing a specific person or I'm doing a commission for someone, because I want the proportions to be exact. That's not dark enough. They've got these willow sticks here. It's charcoal willow sticks. And boy, these things are dark. Oops, I got to move this angle. It's very important to get these angles right. Okay. Okay. Where's my medium? Okay, we got a bottom eyelid. I need to make sure I leave a little white or lighter value in here. We need a medium value. And I got some, I need a cheekbone here. Gotta lighten this up here. We won't have a cheekbone. Okay. So I'm still just mapping things out like around the eye. You got to have a little highlight around the edge of the eye, and it's got a cheekbone right here. All right, now we have a cheekbone. Come up here and give it some more. Okay. Still not worried about details. Still trying to work out my composition or my little outline sketch. This looks good. Here, this got a little clump of fur up here. This comes here. Okay, I got the ear off a little bit, but then again, like I said, the dog is not gonna mind. But it still has to make sense. Same thing, the direction of the fur. And we got a highlight on his fur right here. The dark area here. Step back, take a look. This angle is off right here. I would play some music, but I was doing researching a little bit about copyright stuff. I want to draw some celebrities and play their music while I'm drawing, so the younger generation can really hear some real good music. So I did a little quick research, and it said that to get the rights to an album, it was like 1.3 million. So I guess that ain't gonna happen. Of course, I didn't go any farther than that, but I don't have 1.3 million anymore. All right, let's get some. We need to get some color up here. It's throwing me off. If you ever done any painting, you know about halfway through, you hit that ugly stage. And people are looking at you like you're crazy, like, what are you doing? And it's just like, be patient. Be patient. We'll get there. Okay. Let's do a little work on this nose. Let me bring up better reference. One likes the dog nose. Right here. This part of my reference is kind of all blacked out. I don't have a lot of detail, so I'm trying to remember how to draw a dog nose. I think if we get the right indication, his snout looks a little small. got a question on Rumble. Lady Hamilton said we better see this in our. I don't know if it's going to be in there tomorrow, Lady Hamilton. It will be done when it will be on there when I am done, though. No, this is not regular pencil, Casey. This is charcoal. There might be some very cheap ones. I wouldn't be able to cover much ground with pencil. I got to get the values up in here just slightly. Not a lot, but it can't be white in here. So I got to darken this up a little bit. That's like I said earlier, the light gray tones are really hard to get with this charcoal, especially when you haven't had a lot of practice with it. Could be what's throwing me off. We got to get some more shading in here. It's too light. I got to darken this area up. Otherwise, we won't be able to see our highlights if it's all white. I'm not going to have a lot of time for detail, but we can get our values in there. Ooh. Pull my image back up here. What time are we looking at here? 1 hour in. I might have to go over a little bit tonight. I don't know if I'll be able to finish this, but we'll get as much done as this we can. Not bad for an hour, including for the fact that I'm not a fast painter or a drawer. Okay, now this area here be darker. I really wish I should have picked a better reference. Some of this is really hard to see. Let me make a line for his snout here. I'll draw it with my eraser. Oh. This nose needs to be bigger. There we go. Thank you, Shelley. Thank you, TriStar. We're getting there. Nose is giving me a bit of a problem. Trying to figure out these angles. maybe. You know, sometimes when you run into a problem like that, the nose, and it's like, you know, it could be another area that's throwing it off. I think that's what it was. This little clump of hair is catching some light. If you get stuck on an area like that, I just tend to just move on. Of course, the grid system would have fixed that, but I don't have time for a grid system. So we got to keep powering on. Okay. I know I jump all over the place. That's just the way I've always drawn. But like I said, sometimes an area over here will just mess up the proportions of something over here. I get frustrated. I don't like to get frustrated. I just move on. Besides, how can you get frustrated? Here we gotta color this in. The thing about drawing and showing depth. Down here, this is not really my focal point. It's this face. It's this beautiful face right here. So I'm really not worried about detail down here. You want them to focus up here. But you still got to get the values right in this area. Here's the charcoal you're probably used to. Who was it, Casey? The square stuff. Okay. Not too bad. It's not exact, but we're going to roll with it. This has a little highlight right down through here. Hairline. Get in here and really get this dark. A little clump of hair. I'm not sure this is how you're supposed to use the blendy sticks, but this is how I'm using them. That didn't work. I'm darkening this area up down here because I want my highlights to show up on the face. I might have that area a little too dark. Too distracting. Thank you, Lady Hamilton. I'm not sure how long I'll be up here tonight working on this. I was hoping to get it done in 2 hours. I don't think I'm going to be able to get it done by 9 o'clock. However, I will get as much done as I can, and I will post this onto my True Social account when I am done. Speaking of that, if you want to know where to find me, let me see, right here. On the banner, I'm on True Social, I'm on Rumble, and I am on YouTube. And I will be posting this first thing onto my True Social account. I am the colorblind artist on True Social. And of course, all my friends over there at the Artist Corner probably get the first completed look at it when I'm done. It's hard to get all the different values you need with this charcoal, especially with very little practice. However, it's come along. All right, drop this in. Okay, we can come back to this area. Let's go ahead and start working on these eyes. Pull up my reference. I think the proportions are pretty good. Something wrong with the nose I'm gonna have to work with. I got to kind of figure it out. The angles don't look right. I think maybe, but I'll get that figured out. Right now, I am gonna work on these eyes because I know that's what everybody wants to see. So, can't get my thing to work. There we go. Okay, first thing I'm gonna do is all my darks. Or at least where I'm gonna outline it. Okay, this little furry hair. Okay. Now, when I do eyes, I always like to try to get pure black right here in the pupil next to the very white highlight right there. I call these moisture dots. If the eyes are wet, they're going to have a little white spot in them. If they don't, they're dry, and that probably means the dog is dead or old and blind. Okay, let's get some charcoal right here. We'll get us a new blending stump. We'll see what we can do with these eyes. I want this as smooth as I can get it. Like water. I'm not going to go into my highlight. And this area is a little darker. It's always darker on top of the eyeball than it is at the bottom. The reason being, you got an eyelid, so the top of it's in shadow. Find the right pencil. He's got a glow right here on the left side. Can you see that? All right. Okay. I love doing eyes. This is the best part of a drawing. All right, it's got a darker, deeper shadow. Pure black. And crease of the eye. I don't want to get anything in my white highlight. Starting to look like a dog. We got a eyelid right here. It's dark, but it's not pure black. This up here, however, is pure black. Here, here. Black up through here. A little indentation here in the crevice of the eye. I got an eyelid, but it's not completely white. Let's see if I can do it. Down. A little darker shadow underneath the socket. This is what's fun right here. I love doing eyes. Oh, looking like a little puppy. Yeah. I told you, stick with me. I'm getting there. I will get there. A happy little dog. Give them an indication of fur. Down here. Down here. Okay, this is a little bit darker through here. Blendy stick here. Make this curve a little bit more. There we go. Okay. Still, I can go darker. Oops, sorry about that, guys. More shadow. Boy, these willow sticks are very brittle. They are soft and they're super black, but they're very brittle. To be that dark. Trying to bring the shadow over this bottom eyelid. It's not catching much light right there. These are those medium tones that are hard to get. Bring this cheekbone down a little. All right, let's move over to this other eye, see what we can do. This one's kind of funky. The second eye is always the hardest because you have to match the first. Highlight right there. Okay. It's got a really dark. It's got a right there. A little too much dust down there. All right, let's get this top eyebrow. Get rid of some of that white. This. Ah, computer keeps dying on me. See, now here I'm working on this area right here is too white. So I'm just kind of darkening this in. I don't want the white down here because it will be distracting from the white I do want up in here. So I just got to darken this up some. I don't want this any pure white. But getting these lighter values, like I said, with this charcoal is very difficult, especially with not much practice with it. But I do like all these little scraggly lines. They almost look like mistakes, but if you step back, that looks pretty good. Let me get a bigger blending stump. Yeah, I don't want any white down here. Lighter values, but no white. Same as this. No white. Okay. Oop, I lost my black line. Boy, them willow charcoal is really, really dark, and I like it. Give a little indication here. Okay, we're getting there. Let's work on this little clump of fur. And then I think, yeah, we're almost at 9 o'clock. We're going to do this. I tried my best to get this done in 2 hours, but I think you get a pretty good idea where I'm going with it. Now, if you tell me in the chat there, if you want me to continue to work, tell me, let me know in the chat if you want to. We'll call it, I'll wrap it up here at 9 o'clock. Because I don't mind staying and working on this. I know it gets a little boring, and I'm not that fast. But let me know if you want in the chat, if you want me to continue. Go ahead and wrap it up. If I have just one person say they want me to continue working because they'll stick around and watch, I will stay. Otherwise, I'm going to be calling it a night. Dark gray guy, face red heart shaped. The eyes do look amazing. So dark gray guy, you want me to keep going? Are you going to stick here with me? You going to keep me company if I keep drawing? Because I can do this all night. Yeah, it looks like this area is a little dark down All right, Dark Gray. Uh, I'll tell you what, I'll keep on going, but I do need a little break. I got to use the bathroom and stretch my legs, rest my eyes a little bit, but give me a little break and I will be right back. Let me put this full screen. Oops. Right here. No. How do I do that? There we go. Let me put up my captions. All right, give me about 5 minutes. I will be right back and I will continue to work. You're going to stick around with me. I'll be right back. I got to pee. How many people are on there? What? Oh. All right, I am back. Lady Hamilton's been up for a while, and I don't know how to take it off of there. Let's put up another one. Okay, back to work. All right, they got like a little highlighted hair right here. And it's really dark behind it. I think I'm going to use this willow stick here. It is. Oh, I don't like that race. Catching a little light right there. Okay, let's do some work up here on this ear. Oh, highlight. Ah, well, I keep dropping everything. Pencil sharpener is clogged. Okay. All right, let's do some work on this nose. I love how black you can get these. We got a highlight down here, but it's not completely light. Up a little. Push a lot of dust around. All right, Bobcat. Hey, thank you for stopping by. It will be on True Social when I'm done with it, but I got a lot of detail, more work to do. I'm probably gonna do the background in completely black. I'm sorry I couldn't get more done tonight. I tried, but this is a medium I'm not familiar with. I like it. You can cover a lot of ground. I think I made the right choice because there was no way I could have done this with an art pen. They normally take me about 38 hours. Here I am jumping around again. I need to be more organized. These lighter values are really hard to get. pull it. Step back, take a look. Okay, we are getting there. Oh, I see a problem. The angle of my nose is wrong. I said in the beginning, angles are important. Ron, you get an F. And fennel. I am drawing on a this is a drawing board. I got it from Hobby Lobby. It said it was for charcoal. It's pretty heavy. I just got it taped to this piece of wood. I got painted black. It's about a 16 by 20 inch panel. It said it was for charcoal, so that's what I got. I kind of wish it wasn't so textured. It's really rough, but I don't know if it has to be for charcoal or what. Because this is the first time I've used, well, I've used it before, but I just dabbled with it a little bit. I like the art pens. I'm a slob, and this is messy stuff right here. All right, let's try to tackle this nose. Let's get this thing working here. Okay. I gotta get a computer that doesn't shut off. Okay. I think his nose. Let me step back, take a look at it from a distance. Yeah, his nose needs to be a little bit this way. Ain't nothing wrong with the racing. Yeah, yeah. Now that looks like a little puppy dog nose. Now let's try to get these values just right. We got highlights are important. This highlight comes straight down here. Here, highlight. Hmm. It up a little bit. You gotta look at it cross-eyed. There are so many highlights on this nose. Looks like a pig nose right there. I'll get this nose pretty close to being done, and I believe I am going to call it a night. Come on, don't do that to me. I really can't see. Okay, let me look at something on here. Oh, okay. I took a screenshot of a nose because my reference doesn't have a whole lot of detail. At least for the nose, it's just a big black blob, so I could kind of figure this out. The lighting's different on this. If you're wondering what I'm doing, I'm taking a break from that nose because it's getting a little frustrating, but I will get it eventually. The matter tweaking. Sometimes you just gotta sleep on it. Okay. All right, let's take it on up to 10. All my blending stuff's getting wore out. Too much blending. All right, people. I tried to get this done in 2 hours, but I also said I would work over if I had to. Uh, I will continue to work on this. I will show it next week, 7 o'clock, 7 p.m. I'm not sure what I'll be doing next week, but I will be here working on something, and I will show the completed picture of this. If you want to see it before next week, I am on Truth Social. I am the colorblind artist, and as soon as I'm done with this, I will upload it onto there. I plan on making the background, I'm probably going to go solid black, just make it really black, darken it up, little detail work. I'll work out the kinks with the nose. I'm happy with everything else. It's looking pretty good, considering this is like the first time I've even tried charcoal. I think it turned out pretty good. So, till next week, thank you for watching. Take care, and God bless.